So I recently bought this Gipsy down island from me. I actually sold it to the fellow that I bought it from. I sold it to him about 11 years ago, and it was all in one piece and running at the time, needing restoration or just some TLC. This is, I believe, as I recall, it's a 59. It could be a 58. G1 M10 Austin Gipsy. See, it doesn't have the door handles on the outside, so it's an early model. But for its age, it's extremely rust-free. It's probably the most rust-free one I've personally seen, other than my ex-home office Gipsy. The fellow that I bought it from, he started doing some rust repair here. It had some perforation through the door sills, but you can see the metal was still really strong. They tend to rust out down here because at the factory, when they make them inside here where these two pieces meet, they put a little bit of putty in there because there's an opening, but eventually the putty dries out, falls down in here, and then all the sand and the water and dirt all ends up filling in here, which causes the door sill to rust out. But the still got all the original hardware on the rear hatch, and the latch is original. And you look at the inside of the fenders and they're just incredibly clean. This came from the interior of BC, so it's pretty dry there. And whether it was stored in a undercover, I'm not sure. But the tub is really nice in it. And it's, it's even got the center cap on the steering wheel, which is usually long gone. But it's just a nice old Gipsy. So I bought it back because he started the restoration on it, and then life comes along, gets in the way, and he had it stored in a container pretty much ever since he bought it from me. So lucky that way. You have to reach inside, pull that chain to open the door. I've got some original seats for it that are the same vinyl. But what I want to do today, before I sold it, I'd done all the hydraulics, so the clutch still works, the brakes still work, and even the park brake still works, which is pretty cool. And this thing's got looks like it says 31,000 miles on it. Windshield frame's in really nice shape too, nice and solid. And VIN number is 3892, so it's number 3892 off the assembly line. The gas actually still smells like gas, so I'm gonna see if it'll start and run on that gas that I likely put in there 11 years ago. I don't think he ran it much. He said he just drove it around a little and then parked it. So today we're going to find out. If a Gipsy will run on 11-year-old gasoline. Gasoline apparently loses its octane value pretty fast these days and goes skunky, so I don't have high hopes, but these have a very low compression ratio, and they were designed to run on poor quality fuel with a compression ratio of 6.5 to 1. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of gas down the carb. Something I noticed, the throttle linkage is a little sticky too, so if you hear it tack out, that's what's going on. I rebuilt this carb 11 years ago too, so got good oil pressure. It's showing 50 psi just cranking over. I'm guessing I got no spark. Points are a little burnt, so maybe the key was left on for a while. So I've got the ignition points out, and you can see they've been pretty hot, and the electrodes been melted right off. What happens if you leave, on these old vehicles, if you leave the ignition key on and those points are closed, it'll just discharge the battery through those points, and they'll get pretty smoking hot. So I got the points in there, and I set the gap to about 16 thou. Back in the day, you could use cardboard from paper matches. It was just the right thickness for ignition points. It's mainly about setting the dwell, which is the amount of time the points are closed. But just to make this thing run, that's close enough. Something I failed to notice was this wire had melted off at the power terminal. Looks like it got pretty hot because the insulation's all melted. So I found another good used one, threw that on there. Okay, so I definitely have spark to the spark plugs now, so I'm going to try it again. I'm not going to pour any more gas down the carb because I've already dumped a fair bit down there. So, and I am getting a score to feel from the accelerator pump, so let's give her a whirl. You know, that actually started up a hell of a lot better than I thought it would. This has been kept inside for, as far as I know, for 11 years since I sold it, and that is original gas that's in the fuel tank. Bit of smoke coming out of it. Yeah, that's actually pretty amazing. I thought I would at least miss or smoke a heck of a lot more or backfire out the carb or something, but pretty good. So yeah, thanks for watching my Will This 1959 Austin Gipsy start and run on 11-year-old gas.